up a dive. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's so I remember right. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, the secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Monsters on the Edge here on the Untold Radio Network. I am your host, Barnaby Jones from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society, and we have an awesome group of people in the comments here. Good morning to all of you octopus with no friends. Kim, welcome. Denise, Lee Warner, welcome. Kim, Flat Rockland, Roger, Midwest Night Watchers. I think that's everybody. There we go. If I missed you, I apologize. There's a lot of people in the comments. Off to a great start over there. Thank you all for tuning in. We are live this morning, so if you guys have any questions or comments throughout the show, throw them in the comments section. We will get to them as soon as possible. It is coming up on the holiday season here, as if you're from Wisconsin, we got our first little flurries of snowfall. All right, anyway. And so we got Show Your Sport for Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We have our store on our website, wisconsincaps.com. We have our awesome, ugly Christmas sweater design available right now. Everything is, I believe it is still on sale on our Facebook page and, or not Facebook, on our TeePublic website. So you can head on over there and get yourself a t-shirt or a ugly sweatshirt or hoodie of your choice available for you guys. Come and check out our documentary, Wisconsin's Bigfoot, the Hairy Man of Dairyland, streaming on our Patreon page. Just $3 there. Head on over to Wisconsin Caps, our patreon.com/Wisconsin Caps. The links are on our website, wisconsincaps.com. If you guys want to meet us in person, You can come down and see us in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Sunday, December 7th at the Krampus event. It is in the brewery district. There are 2 or 3 vendor rooms, and there's live music and costumes and an entire Krampus parade. You can get all the details on that. Head on over to wisconsincaps.com, click on the public events tab. Coming up next year, we are going to be at the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Delavan, Wisconsin. And of course, CapCon, Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Convention, Saturday, May 9th. All right, there we go. Grandizer, I see you have shown up here. Barnaby will not be at Krampus this year. How will I not? I just said I would be. Grandizer, you're crazy. All right. Okay, with that being said, I don't know why I'm out of breath and rushed through all that, but there you go. It's a lovely day here. So, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get to our show with our awesome guest. I think I'm actually awake this morning. I talk more when I'm awake. So that's probably what the problem is. All right, guys, my guest here is Wendell Mosley. He is the founder of Prospecting USA and creator of the YouTube channel Wendell Bigfoot 911. He is an Alabama-based explorer known for firsthand encounters with the unexplained. His journey into Bigfoot began in 2018 when he discovered unusual tracks in his own driveway and shared photos online, which quickly led to podcast invitations and deeper involvement in the field. Since then, Wendell has become an active figure in Bigfoot research, regularly participating in meets and greets and boots on the ground investigations. Through his channel, he provides a welcoming platform for others who can openly discuss their experiences with Bigfoot and the paranormal. Welcome, Wendell, to the show. Wendell, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing fine. I see I've got one of my cousins in chat. Hello, Ruth.
Hey, there we go. Hi, Wendell.
And hello, everybody else.
It is a very active chat this morning.
They do get busy sometimes.
With that being said, guys, if you have a question that you would like answered, put it in all capital letters so that I can see it in all the other comments and stuff over there, and that way it doesn't get lost and we get through it. Rush through. Lee says, rush through so we can play Barnaby Jones drinking game. Everyone in chat mispronounces a word, drink. I don't think I screwed up much today, Lee, as fast as we're going. So I don't think you get to drink this morning, Lee.
Oh, with that, I got something I want to say.
Okay.
You don't look nothing like Barnaby Jones. You look more like Max Baer.
I don't know.
Maybe even Denver Powell.
Okay.
You know who they are?
I've heard of Pyle, but yeah, I don't know Max Baer.
That was Jethro.
Okay.
Oh, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
And Denver Powell was, of course, Gilligan.
Oh, good. That's all the time we got for this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. All right.
I had to get that in there because of your name.
I have not heard those before, though. I have heard a lot of Barnaby Jones references, but yep, I've never been called Gilligan before, so. There's a first for everything. There you go.
Yeah, there is.
Well, it is awesome to finally put a face to the name here, Wendell, and have you on the show instead of just in the chat. I know we've scheduled this interview quite a while ago, and you've been showing up in the chat ever since, and I appreciate that. And so cool to have people that have had experiences in the chat and listen to the show come on and enjoy it and share with everybody else. So awesome.
Well, I was in the chat a few times before you invited me too, but
yeah. Yeah. I kind of scoured the Alabama Facebook group for Bigfoot, and I stole a bunch of people off there. If people haven't noticed, you see like runs of certain states because I am currently working on certain projects, and I go, I need someone from Alabama to come on and talk.
But you need to get Mark Green and Rebecca from Cedar Creek Bottoms.
I haven't had Cindy. I haven't had her. I think Mark Green was on the show.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, Rebecca's his wife.
Okay.
And they live about an hour south of me here.
Nice. I'd have to check. I have so many people on and 2 shows a week, but I'm pretty sure I had Mark Green on. I think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, let's we have you here today. So let us chat about your what you got going on. So it started with your footprints in your driveway, as we said in the intro here. Now, so you got to live like on the edge of the woods, or do you live in the city? Whereabouts you at?
At the time I was living up in Heflin, Alabama. I was on Highway 46 between Interstate 20 and downtown Heflin, and my driveway ran a mile back up into the woods, and there was nobody out there. We got one neighbor that had a bunch of dogs out there, but he wasn't really that close. And it was right after my stepfather passed away, and I found a lady to come help take care of my mother while I was working. And I had a trail camera set up out there, and I was going to check my trail camera, and I found 2 tracks in my driveway. One was larger than my footprint, and the other one was smaller, almost as small as my cell phone. And it sunk into the ground really, really deep. Let's see. I think, is there a way I can post them pictures?
At the bottom of the screen, there's a share button.
Okay, present.
Yep.
Image. There it is. I hadn't done this in a while, so I forgot.
Not a problem.
Especially on the double broadcast like I'm doing.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem. There we go.
That is the large track. You can see the toes right across there, and kind of see the one right in here. And I'll remove that one, and you'll find the small one.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. And if you zoom me, let's see if I can zoom this in somehow.
I was going to say, I can't. That's on your end.
All right. Let's see. How do I do this?
I can't zoom and point like normal.
But anyhow, you see where that track is going into all that underbrush right across there.
Yep.
I couldn't go through there without a machete. And
go through there, period.
That's Nancy, the lady I was telling you about. She's right. It was
so bad you couldn't go through there, and if you did, it would drop off. So there would be a drop off, but there was no way for you to go through there. The only way you could go through there is if you had a bobcat or something bigger than that to cut it all down with.
Well, I got that straightened out.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
But anyhow, that was where I got my first track set, and I moved off after my mother passed away. Moved on down here in Anniston, and found one of them Bigfoot groups, and posted my pictures on there and asked people what they thought about them. And Bob Dole, he got in touch with me and asked me to be on his podcast, and I did. And then Woodwalkers had a meet and greet up in Kentucky at LBL of April last year, and I went to that. I took pictures for myself, for my memories, and I posted them on my Facebook. Guess what? Nobody else did. So they wound up being a bunch of people copying my pictures and posting them. And that's what really got me more or less famous in this group, is because I took pictures. And then I came back to Alabama, and Mark Green had a get together and went to that. And then Woodwalkers came down here and they did one, went to that one, went to Mark Green has a fire pit on once a month at his house. I go to that. And I've been to a couple of different places over here in Talladega National Forest where Pine Glen, I camped there one night and I didn't have nothing happen. I went over to Sweetwater Lake. I found a deer hide that had been ripped off and thrown down. And I got my phone out and was videotaping around there. And there's a little boat ramp that goes out into the lake. As I walked past my car, my phone froze up. It wouldn't do nothing. I mean, it would do nothing. And I walked on down to the boat ramp, and I found a rod and reel that somebody had left out there. I reeled it in. It had some fresh shrimp still on it. And I'm guessing, just guessing, that whoever was fishing there seen the deer hide thrown down and got out of there as fast as he could and didn't take time to reel his rod in. But that's just my guess. And a little later on, I went over to a place called Big Oak Campground. And as soon as I pulled in that place, I got the feeling like I should not be there at all. I mean, I was actually scared, and I left. I didn't even take time to turn around. I didn't turn around much. But I went back later on a few months ago, and everything was fine. Wasn't nothing scary. I took a picture of the campsite. It wasn't real big. You could probably get maybe 10 people in the main area next to the pit toilet. And there's another little area up on top of the hill back there behind where you come in at. But that was about it. So I went on and left from there after that. As far as actual sounds and sightings, when Woodwalkers came down, we did there's Miss Misty. She's from Woodwalkers.
Nice.
And It was at 4:30 Sunday morning, and I was using my little makeshift toilet out there, and I heard a howl go off that sounded more like canine than anything else. And it was far enough away it didn't really scare me. I was excited to actually have heard it. And then there's some other folks, Pat and Joe, they had recorded another howl from a different howl. And I'd heard it during the day, but it was far off too. I didn't. So, but what they called turned out to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have wolves and stuff down in Alabama?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, because you let me listen to it earlier, and I was going to say it's not coyote. It's definitely a canine sounding, but I was going to ask you if you had wolves at all, because it does still sound like a big wolf.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. It doesn't. It's interesting. Like you can tell, like coyote versus wolf howls very easily. They got more of the yippy coyote sounds versus the eerier kind of tone to the wolves.
Now, a fox will make us scream, it'll scare you.
Yes.
And so will a bobcat. I've heard both of them up on where I lived in Heflin, so I know what they sound like.
And add barred owl to that mix, because I have been in the woods and heard the sound of like a monkey scream. And it's a barred owl, but when you do a Bigfoot howl, then all of a sudden out of the woods behind you, you go, ooh,
yeah,
it'll make you run out of there pretty quick if you don't know what it is. So,
and the little screech owl that when they going off, it's strange. What it sounds like, it's type of sound. Shut up, Sarge.
He doesn't like that sound either. He's been out there. Oh yeah. Let me back up here real quick.
You on for Granddad's question?
We'll get there. Yep. You want to do it now? We can do it now. Grandizer says, Wendell, were you a believer in Bigfoot lore prior to your experience? Were you aware of it or no? Or maybe some knowledge but thought it was a legend?
I've seen the Roger Patterson pitch film. I've seen hunting Bigfoot and all that. And, I never thought if there was any in this area. If there was any, they were all out there where they've all been doing all their research in Washington and Northern California and everything. So, yeah, I thought maybe there's one out there, or two. Well, I figured if there's one, there's got to be more because they got to. But, yeah, and then I found out, hey, they're everywhere, all around the world. Every state in the United States that I don't think I've run across one that hasn't had a report.
Hawaii.
Yeah, well, they get the little people, the little whatever they call them.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And that's another thing. I've never seen or heard one of them either, unless that little track in my driveway was one of theirs.
Alabama's kind of famous for the big white thang. Have you gotten any stories or heard any reports of that still?
I've seen I don't know how many different podcasts that people has referred to it, but I've not seen it yet. But there's a place over here called Alabama Gold Camp at Cragford, Alabama, where I went down there panning, and there's a lady down there talked about 3 white chimps playing in the creek. So, hey, that's 3 white ones right there.
And young ones, nonetheless.
Yes.
So that's a really interesting phenomenon. I know, like sometimes albinoism is a gene that'll pass along. We have a lot of white deer here in Wisconsin, and they're all in one specific area of the state. You drive down the highway and you see like almost a whole half of a herd is all white deer because they breed in that way. So I wonder if, like, obviously based on the original reports, the original white thing may or may not still even be around. But if it's a breeding population of white ones or albino ones or something, you could have, especially if you've not you, but taken a report of young juvenile ones.
Well, I've heard reports of them from, I think it was up in Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and some down close to Florida. So I don't think it's all one group. I think it.
Right. Yeah.
Some of them could be older ones getting gray haired, or like you say, it's just the freak of nature, the way it happens. Because what's interesting is you would think if it was like the brown bear and the black bear, they would have the two-tone colors like they do. But for the most part, they're either one color or another. Excuse me.
Have you heard any stories of them like living in the mines? You had talked about it being like the gold mining country and stuff there where they had been seen.
It's a possibility that that's where they shelter at, because there is an old mine shaft there on that property where the gold camp is, and another fellow around on another creek had one throwing rocks at him off the railroad track up there. So who knows? It could be and you never know till you actually see it.
Well, let me ask you this: you've talked about like a lot of like the gold mining and stuff down in that area at one time. What do they do for gold mining? Do they go into the ground or into the side of a cliff, or is it more like a strip mine?
For the most part, they'll try and find bedrock with veins of quartz and gold, and they'll follow the vein of quartz into the ground. There's places like the Alabama Gold Camp down there where they are digging up gold from one part of the property and bringing it over to the creek where you can work it. And because they say it's glacier gold that had been pushed down through from up north to here, and it's settled, and they just digging out bits and pieces of it. And like over in Georgia, where they do have the veins up there as well, and that was the second gold rush in the country. The first one was in North Carolina, I think it was, where the original first gold rush was. But I was living in Georgia and most of my life, and we went up to North Georgia camping, and we stopped in Dahlonega, and I got to go through a couple of mines there and the little roadside places for panning, and that's how I got started. And years later, I finally got to the point where I decided I was going to start my own prospecting club, Prospecting USA, Hunting America's Treasures. And I put it on Facebook, and I started gathering information and on what's in the state of Georgia. Then I went into Alabama, then found out about the North Carolina and the 1849 and 49ers in California, big gold rush out there, and then Alaska. The big gold rush now basically in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
They got some huge mines over there, and there's been some huge nuggets found There's one found on the border of New Mexico and Arizona. I think they call it the Cortez Boot. It's it and another one called the Hand of God are both in museums, casino museums down there at Las Vegas. They worth millions of dollars. I wish I could have found one of them.
Very good. So you've got this whole group of community of prospectors and stuff from around your area and stuff, which presumably they're out in the middle of nowhere, gold mining or looking for this stuff and panning it in the rivers and stuff. And have you heard or have you asked any of these other guys?
I have.
Mhm.
I've had one fella that has come on my podcast. He does prospecting up in Alaska, and
Oh.
he's told a little bit about having some activity with a Bigfoot up there. And I've seen on other people's podcasts where somebody's mentioned that they've had interactions with them, and I can't never get none of them to come on my show. So,
I mean,
yeah,
that's got to be very similar to like hunters and stuff. You go out there, like you said, with fishermen and stuff
Yeah.
along these rivers because you gotta have water to pan the gold.
yeah,
and go through it all. So you got these people at the rivers or lakes or whatever have you, and they're sitting there doing their thing. They can't be making too much noise aside from like the sloshing back and forth, and that's about as loud or as sloshy as the river. So you would think that they're pretty inconspicuous down there, that if you're gonna have an encounter or something, that'd be a pretty good way to do it. Plus you're looking for money. So
yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part, if you're just using the pan and shovel or a sluice box running in stream, you're not making a whole lot of noise. But as I've come to understand that if you're in the woods, they're watching you anyhow.
mhm.
So how you're getting by without seeing them is unreal.
Too busy looking down at a pan of gold. There's one standing across the river and nobody notices.
Yeah, there could be.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there's some of them that have looked up and seen them, and a couple of them was roared at, and they left.
Wow. I wonder when it comes down to it, you're panning away and you find this nice chunk of gold in there, and this Bigfoot comes out and roars. What do? Do you abandon the gold, or do you do you make sure you grab it before you run?
Well, you crap your pants, you put the gold in your pocket, and you run like.
Yep, forgot that first step there. Yeah. Awesome. Very good, man. So, I was going to ask you something else about that. So here in Wisconsin, we had a whole town approach our team. It's down on the southern border of Wisconsin, just on the Iowa border, and they have a whole bunch of mines there, and they were thinking that these things lived in those mines. So that's why another reason I was kind of curious. And then besides, right there, you got Kentucky, which is famous for like the goblins that came out of the mine, and they thought that attacked that guy's house, the Kentucky goblins and stuff. So
I haven't heard that story.
oh, that's a pretty big story. There's a guy's house, and I think he's got mines on the property or just near his property, and supposedly these little goblin creatures, long ears, kind of big heads, came out of this mine and assaulted his house, like on the roof and banging on the walls and stuff. And he went out there with a shotgun, and it was older. I want to say like 70s, but yeah, that's Kentucky's big claim to fame is their Kentucky goblins. But they came out of a mine too, so nobody knows if they were something that got dug up in the mine and released, from underground, or if they were something from somewhere else that were living down there or whatever. So there's a lot of stories of, caves and stuff of these things. So being, into the gold, and I was just wondering if you'd heard anything from coming out of the mines or living down there.
No. Now, there's people like Greg and Flat Rock, they have these creatures living on their property in Coonbow. And I hear people talking about gifting them food and stuff. And I've come to understand that ain't a good idea, because if something happens that you get them used to it and you stop, they get upset. We got Mr. Roger Williams from Squatch and Holler, and Patrick in the chat. Hey, buddies.
Yes, we do. Yep.
And
So let me go. This was the question I was going to ask when we got off on Grandizer there. The property where you had the footprints, that's not where you live anymore. You've moved since.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Because I was wondering if you had any more activity on there or anything, but you obviously don't live there anymore. So.
No. I never had no activity other than the tracks that I know of. I've never heard any knocks, no whoops, no yells. Maybe once a couple of them what I thought was bobcat screams might have been one of them, but other than that, not really.
We got a couple of questions over here, guys. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments section and we will get to them as soon as possible here. Your first one here again is from Grandizer. Why did Wendell pick 911 after the Bigfoot? Is it a nod to missing 411?
I was looking for something that would catch people's attention. And if they had an encounter, if they wanted to talk to somebody, maybe they would think Bigfoot 911, they would be welcome to talk, which is they are. And then I found out there was a Bigfoot 911 podcast already out there. So I had to put my name in front of it so everybody know I'm different from the other one.
Very good. Your next question also comes from Grandizer. He says, what helped you in the journey with your research? Books, media, stories passed down, or other sources?
All the above. The plain and simple, all the above. Well, not books too much. I don't read very much. I watch TV and YouTube and listen to stories. That's basically it. And some of the little things that I've experienced, which ain't nothing concrete as far as saying that's definitely a Bigfoot, but it's good evidence that it might be.
Is there any specific other researchers or anything that you look up to as far as like helped you on learning how to do what you do and go out there?
Well,
they're all in the comments, so if you leave them out,
Yeah, I know. Now, Roger, he is one of these deep thinkers when it comes to this stuff. He blows me away with how much he digs into this stuff, thinks about it. And now Flat Rock, he's got a bunch of good experiences. I ain't gonna say stories for this time because somebody told me that they call us, if it's a story, it's not true. But he's not a researcher. He just has them living. He's got them on his property, and that's where he learned about them. And Greg House has them on his property. Coonbow has them on his property. And I would say those three are the ones I would look up to the most. Now, I've met Martin Groves. I've met Daryl Denton. I've met Barton Nunley. And I've met Cam Buckner. So, but as far as the ones I really look up to the most for their experiences is them three: Greg, Flat Rock, and Coonbow.
Nice. Flat Rock's got to come on the show sometime. You have to send me a message and come on here because I keep hearing your name and stuff. So you're gonna have to come on the show and chat with me. So instead of hiding in the comment section over there.
It's hard to get Flat Rock to come on.
Okay.
Because he's like you said, he's not a researcher. He just now he has people come to his house.
You're gonna need 6 hours with Flat Rock.
Oh, he could do it.
All right.
Do it. We can
do a members episode. There we go.
We was doing a video chat on sideline one evening, and he was out there in the yard with his dog, and there was one peeking around a tree at him out there, and he held up his phone, and another fellow, Ken, was able to record what he was showing on the phone, and that was the first time I ever knew that you could do that. And I was looking at one of his videos where he was recording a howl going off in the woods, and the picture that it was actually had it sitting on, I caught in the tree down there a large black figure sitting up in the tree. I have those pictures on my Facebook page that you can see them. And well, I didn't put the video up there that Ken caught, but I did put the one in the tree up there.
Let's see here. This was a question that I had as well. I'm glad that we get to circle back to it here. Grandizer again, Wendell, with military bases sort of a place for Bigfoot to be around, any stories that you have heard that you have tried to verify? Any Bigfoot military bases in Alabama there?
Well, I live 11 minutes from Fort McClellan, which they've closed it down now. And I was born there back in 1961. My father was in the military, and my mother, of course, had me there. But last year, I was coming over Baines Gap Road up there, and the way the road lays out, you basically go up one side of the mountain, come down the other side, and you're in the fort. And I come down the mountain at the bottom where it flattened out, and there's a creek runs across under the road, and off to the left down there, there's one of them canine howls came off that I could feel it in the car. I pulled over, tried to get my phone out to record it, but by the time I got stopped and everything, it was gone. So
you said you could feel it in the car.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. I always equate it to like people that haven't heard like a howl or anything like that. They don't understand. But like if you ever go to a parade and you hear a marching band and the big boom, boom, boom of the drum.
Or in a concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, that's incredible that you could hear it or feel it, in a car. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I figured it was mighty close at that point.
Yeah.
But I stopped. I had my phone. I had a night vision monocular that I was even using, but I never seen or heard nothing else after I got stopped.
Interesting. This is going off a bunch of comments here, but we're going to pick this one up. So Grandizer says when he was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, he had heard about them after he was there, like in the late 80s and even the 90s. So there's a lot of talk here. Roger had said, I've heard of seasoned researchers that some military bases not only know where they are, but have named them. I hear a lot of, you do hear Bigfoot, but you hear a lot of Dogman on military bases.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories from that, like Dogman on military?
Well, just that canine howl that I heard coming off of. But as far as the Bigfoot, I've not heard nothing up there. But that don't mean it. Just because I hadn't heard it, don't mean it hadn't happened. But Yeah, I've seen plenty of deer and turkey on the fort as I go through there. So, so there's definitely food for
Hmm. Oh yeah. That's interesting. I really wonder, like I've said this before on the show, and I'll bring it up again, that when you're talking about Bigfoot, Dogman, creatures of that nature on or around these military bases, I wonder if it has something to do with the military base and like with in conjunction with it specifically, or if they're just like, we hear about like being in quarries or in under like power lines and stuff like that.
them.
If
Yeah.
it's just a matter of there's no people there, they're guarded, and it's a place where they can go where there aren't a lot of people. I'm kind of interested in that as well.
Well, what's interesting is about Fort McClellan here. It's basically in town, but it's also backs up basically against the Talladega National Forest. So
Oh,
uh, they got plenty of room to roam both in the fort and behind it. Whereas here on this side, it's the way the Anniston, this area is laid out. There is a lot of woods here. There's mountains on both sides of Anniston. We're in a valley down through here, and there's a mountain down here. They call it Skull Mountain or Skeleton Mountain. I don't know why it got that name. There's a stone effigy snake up on top of that mountain. Uh, there's a humongous rock wall that runs all the way across that mountain, for what I can tell. Because the top of the mountain up there is all covered in rocks, but there's been part of them moved over into a wall, and then there's some it looks like it was cut off and like into maybe a cabin type thing or something at one time. So there's, and then the military came in there and built their fort there, and so who knows? They may have pushed them rocks over there with a bulldozer, but it don't look like it. There's no dirt from the bulldozer, no stumps and stuff. It's all rock, like it was hand stacked over there.
Wonder, is there any like going back during like the Civil War or something? Was there like a lot of battles down there? Like maybe they'd used it as a lookout or something?
There was uh some battles around here. Not a lot that I found myself, but there was Indian mounds down here close to Coldwater, and of course, there's other Indian villages around through here somewhere. There was, and so who knows who done it?
Interesting. This is a very valid question here. So, Ruth would like to know, what is the difference between a Bigfoot and a Dogman?
Dogman is basically like a werewolf, only they don't change from wolf to man like the legend of the werewolves. And the Bigfoot is more like a mixture of human and primate, which humans are primates, actually. And some of the DNA that people have come up with have marked it. So the female hormones or genes were human. Some of the male was marked as just plain primate or unknown ape. And so I think they may be, like they say, a mix of the I can't say the name.
Nephilim?
No, the
Neanderthal?
yeah, that one.
Wasn't sure which you were going for.
That one. That's the one.
Yep. Okay.
And regular humanoids from that time period may have mixed. But as far as the Nephilim, hey, that's possible because they were that could go along with why people can be 6 to 10 feet away from one, having them growl at them and can't see them. Mm-hmm. And people see them walking across the field and just disappear. That's strange. Maybe it's like the bear hairs or the polar bear hairs. Mm-hmm. The polar bear is black, but it looks white because the hair is actually clear and it's reflecting all the snow around them. Mm-hmm. So maybe these hair is clear for the most part, and it'll reflect the green of the surroundings. This is the reason they disappear so easy.
This is another interesting question here. We kind of already went over it, but I'd like to pose it just as a general thought. So, any U.S. Civil War battles in Alabama, or in general, I guess, of Bigfoot or Dogman involved in the battle or seen? I wonder, like any old newspaper.
I've not heard nothing. I've not heard nothing.
I haven't heard anything either.
I've heard that there was a big battle with the Creek Indians it was the Choctaw Indians in South Alabama that had a big battle with them. But as far as the soldiers, I've not heard of nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like they got involved in a battle or anything of that nature, but it'd be interesting to, like the old newspaper reports and stuff.
Yeah.
Anything like that to see if, because we've heard of like the rock apes overseas and stuff there that the military reported seeing, and then you got the Kandahar giant and stuff like that the military saw.
Well, Daniel Boone was supposedly killed one, and the story that what was that president?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Wrote about it in his book, yeah.
Right. Which some folks thinks that Bauman that he was talking about was actually him, because when he was in school, he was the Bauman on the rowing team.
Interesting. Yeah, it's also I'm going to come back to that in a second. I think that this is a really interesting topic that should be addressed if anybody's interested in doing research and stuff, to look into any kind of, because the Civil War, you're traversing land that maybe nobody's traversed, aside from the Native Americans and stuff, but you're going all over fighting these battles and fighting each other in the middle of nowhere and going places that
actually they didn't go throughout all them places like that. They basically followed the main roads to the different towns.
Yeah.
If you look back at where all the battlefields were, they're either on the main road from one town to another or around a town. That I did notice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, fair enough, yeah. But I mean, you got hundreds of miles between cities and stuff that you're just walking these roads and stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, all right. What were we gonna talk about there for a second? Teddy Roosevelt. There was a theory that he created the national park system, and because of that, the thought is that he knew that the Bigfoot was out there, and these national parks were kind of like Indian reservations and stuff, but these were for the Bigfoot creatures.
Well, if that was him that was out there, had that experience, maybe the first national park that he made was where he had that encounter.
Mhm.
So
That's
it would
interesting.
make sense.
I wonder. There's another. This is a good interview, man. I wonder. What was the first national park that he designated, and then where was that sighting supposedly have been? Is that the same spot?
I think it was the one in California. I may be wrong. Where the big redwoods are.
Oh, Redwood National Forest,
Yeah, I may be wrong on that, but
Bluff Creek. No.
yeah, all that's in that area.
What a
Exactly.
coincidence! Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. I haven't actually read the report that's in his book about that, so I don't know much beyond the fact that it exists. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've never actually, like I say, I don't read nothing, so I've never read it either. So
Interesting.
I just heard people talking about it. And so, what's the biggest, tallest ones you've heard of?
I know down in Kentucky, Tennessee, there's a 24-inch footprint that I have personally seen the cast,
Yeah.
of. And that's probably the biggest that I would have seen or have heard of.
How tall do you think it was?
If a 16, 17 inch is about 8 to 9 feet, $12 to $15 maybe. I don't know.
You know
That's
Gary
insane.
Spikes. You know Gary Spikes.
Okay.
He's got a 15-footer living on his property, and that has been confirmed by Coonbo. When Gary was sick here in Alabama, and he took him home, he saw it.
So how does that equate to, height is 16 feet, but we talk about these things being like the size of a sheet of plywood, right? 4 feet wide, 8 foot tall. How does the 15-foot equate? Is it wider, or is it still only about 4 foot wide, or what does that look like?
I would imagine it would probably be more like 5 foot.
Yeah, not too much bigger.
Right, but just taller.
Yeah.
And I've heard of some up in the Alaska area being close to 20 foot tall.
I don't know. Yeah, see, giants normally, where we go. The thing jumped. Giants normally start at 20 feet per a good source of a giant friend. This is talking about like the giant bones and research and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, that's like in these Indian mounds and stuff. They dug up 8 to 10 foot tall people.
See, this is one of the things that's interesting, though. A lot of the stories with the giant mounds and the newspaper articles and stuff that have all supposedly written about these skeletons and that, a lot of them were found with weapons.
Yeah.
And that's, you would think like if these are Bigfoot that they were digging up, why don't we still see the use of tools and other stuff in the Bigfoot population now? If these giants and the interactions with the Native Americans and stuff, if that was all the same creatures, beings, whatever you want to call it.
Well, maybe it's a regional thing that they learned. And like all these tree knocks and rock knocks that people hear clacking. Some folks think that maybe it's them popping their mouth or something like that. Or so, yeah, it could be just whatever's they've learned to do. I've heard of some that actually use fire to cook. I don't know if it's true or not because I ain't seen it, but I've heard of it.
I've heard stories of them wearing clothes, like they've either found something as well too.
I've heard of them having collars.
Is that what I haven't heard? All the goth Bigfoot out there.
I think it was probably one that had been captured and got away.
Oh, Okay. Boy, that would suck if like you look at like some of the animals and stuff, the turtles that get stuck in a soda ring or something like that, and as they grow, it chokes them off. If you had an actual Bigfoot captured with a collar, that thing would outgrow that pretty quick.
Unless it was an adult to start with.
Yeah.
And maybe when they seen it, it just hadn't had time to get it off yet.
True. I would think that those things would probably be, if they could get a grip on it, pretty easy to snap something like that if they can rip a tree branch off though. So
if they can take these large trees, turn them upside down and stick them in the ground, which I've seen one of them down here in Talladega National Forest. But it wasn't like the ones up in California where they had the root balls and everything. They'd come in there and they cut some pine trees off that was apparently about ready to fall on power lines. And they cut them down, and something come along and stood one of them upside down in the ground. And it was pretty close to 10 to 11 inches diameter. It's a big tree. Barton Nunley actually came down and seen it, and he noticed that up on the top of it there was splinters sticking up, so there wasn't no machine knocked it down in the ground. So, but it was a tree that had been cut, so who knows?
Grandizer would like to know, are there any cases of aggressive Bigfoot in the state?
Well, there are few reports of people who have been dismembered. Okay. One was a turkey hunter down where we camp at. And I try not to say where we go too much anymore, but a lot of people have called it out, which I'm worrying that that's going to wind up causing them to close it down or something. Because if they like they did in LBL, all them campgrounds they've closed down. And there's roads all throughout Talladega National Forest that has gates across them. You can't go down them. So who knows what's down in there?
Like driving gates or fence gates? Like, can you still walk down them? Or
yeah, you can still walk down them, but
but you're not
these roads are over here. You're going up and down mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
You'd have to be in real good shape to walk them. And I'm not. I basically stay in camp now. I can't get out and do the walking through the woods. I was driving down one of the roads there in Talladega National Forest, and I just pulled over on the side of the road, and I did a whoop. And all of a sudden, as soon as I did it, there's a tree come tumbling down over on the next hillside over there. That could have been just coincidence, but hey, as soon as I done it and it happened, it's something to think about. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. Here we go. Any feral human cases that either you have experienced while prospecting or other stories that you have heard?
Well, I don't know if you call them feral, but there was a group that they call the Rainbow People that was living in Talladega National Forest years back that I knew of. And some of them were very shady people. So that would be as close to feral that I know about.
We were down in Kentucky, Tennessee area doing some work, and we stopped and talked to some people and told them we were going out Bigfooting, and they said, "Oh, well, if you go in the woods, be careful." And we said, "Okay, is there like bears, mountain lions, anything out there?" And they said, "No, there's people." And we're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, fair enough, but
yeah, they don't have to be feral people. They
absolutely
people just out there to rob you and whatever. Anyway,
Mm-hmm. Have you had any like you go prospecting and stuff? Has there been any kind of like interaction with people like this is my land, like I'm working this area, get off of it kind of aggression there?
yes, a lot of most of the property around this area is owned by people who own the property, of course. But if you can get access to the stream from the road, you can go in. But then they'll run you out because they got the property on both sides and say you just get out.
Mm-hmm. And not many people know that law, that if you're in the river that you're on neutral ground. So
Right.
yeah, that's interesting. All right, very cool. Looks like we have one last question here, and then we'll get to the bottom. If you guys have any other questions, throw them in the comments section, and we'll try and get them in before we wrap up today. But last one here. In your research, do you believe there are different species of Bigfoot? Why or why not? Such as like the lumberjack legends of the hide behind type of Bigfoot.
Well, I've not heard of the hide behind, but yeah, I think there are different types for the simple fact that they adapt to their surroundings. And then you got the Gugway, which looks totally different, but in the face, and they're usually more aggressive than the others.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Gugway hasn't been brought up in the comments yet. Usually he shows up around this time. So
Well, I'm surprised nobody has any questions besides Grandizer.
That's what I was thinking too. Everything he's got another one.
At least he's trying to learn something. That's the way I look at it.
Any prospecting areas in Alabama that may be similar to the Lost Dutchman in Superstition Mountains in Arizona?
There are several closed down mines in Alabama. They have one that they are fixing to reopen over south of Birmingham. But as far as something like the Lost Dutchman, I've not heard of no particular ones like that. There are old stories where somebody robbed banks and hid stuff, and nobody knows if it's actually been found or not. Up close to Fort Mountain in Georgia, there was supposedly a military base up there that somebody robbed their pay wagon, and they were down close to Chatsworth, the ones that did the robbing, and they had raped a Indian girl, and the Indians had killed them and buried the wagons, the money, the horses, and all. I know about where that location is, but I can't get in there and do anything with it.
Legally, you can't go.
Right.
There's no streams that go to that area.
That's like there's supposed to be a cave over there around Carter's Lake that has a lot of gold that the Indians had in the area had been mining and trying to buy the land from the government at the time, but the Indians were not permitted to own land at that time, so they didn't sell it to them. They just removed them to Oklahoma, and apparently they had rolled a huge rock over the entrance and put mud and brush, planted bushes around it where it wouldn't be seen as a cave. I know about where that is, but I can't get to it either.
Yep, that's
And
how it goes.
actually, those two stories right there came from my stepfather, and one of the his grandmother was supposed to be full-blooded Cherokee or half Cherokee, and she supposedly came from that area and told him the story.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up here on the end here. We'll wrap stuff up here. But before we go, tell everybody where they can find you. You got your YouTube channel. You got a couple Facebook groups. What are those again?
Yeah, I got my Wendell Bigfoot 911 group on Facebook. I got Camping Gadgets on Facebook. I got my Prospecting USA, Hunting America's Treasures on Facebook. And I have another group that I inherited out in California called the California Gold Prospectors and Treasure Hunters. That group's doing better than my main channel. I got over 1,000 members on there, and I've only got like 900 on my regular page. And here lately, I've not done nothing on neither one of them. And of course, Wendell Bigfoot 911 on YouTube.
Very cool, man.
And you can, if you ever run across a meet and greet with woodwalkers or Cedar Creek Bottoms, like the Christmas dinner coming up, you'll probably find me there.
Very cool. Very cool. We do have the links in the show notes for the Prospecting USA page, the Wendell 911 Bigfoot page, as well as the YouTube channel. For you guys that are interested, head on over there and check that out. I like this comment. John Doe would like to know if you also have an OnlyFans.
No.
No? All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the first question I've seen of that. So,
yeah, as far as the other social media stuff, I don't do those. I got a little bit of stuff posted on Instagram, but and a little bit on TikTok, but it's nothing. It's not a regular thing. It's just stuff that some of it actually transfers from Facebook over to them. So
there you go. Only prospecting fans. There you go. That's what you need to have.
Well, that would be nice.
This is a lively commentary section today. I want to thank you guys for this. This is a lot of stuff going on over here, and I apologize. I got one more question here for you before we wrap things up, and I apologize if I missed any of them because there's a lot going on. But
yeah,
Mirax, who is a Super Chats member, thank you so much for that as well. Has Wendell ever been really scared while camping, or any experience encounters that have kept him up at night?
No. Like I said, the only place I was actually scared was the Big Oak campground. When I pulled in, I got that feeling that you had to get out, and I did.
Yeah.
And the experience that when we was down here with the woodwalkers at Talladega, we was hearing the howls out in the woods, and I was more excited about actually hearing them because they was far enough away that it didn't scare me.
They didn't shake your truck. Yeah.
No, but the people around me got them.
Yeah.
You seen Patrick here in the chat. He had his tent unzipped one night. And the next night.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the next night he decided he was going to set it in his chair out by his little campfire. And he caught his shoe on fire. So I've got some interesting stories from people that've been around me at these campouts. And me and Billy Shillings up at LBL, we was camping. I was in my car, he was in his truck, and I would look over and I'd message him, make sure he was doing all right. And the first night I was at LBL, it was very cold. There's some guy, there's a guy out there. He was keeping the fire going all night, but I didn't know he was out there to start with. And I woke up and I seen this big blob, basically, because he had a blanket over his head and wrapped around him. So it wasn't a human outline, and I got to looking and said, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I got out of the car and walked over there, and it was him wrapped up in his blanket. But yeah, I had to go find out. If it had been, I'd probably been running back in a hurry.
Oh, man.
But I was thinking that was nice of it, keeping the fire going.
Grandizer says we will have to have you back for part 2 with just campfire stories.
Oh, now, yeah, because Billy had his truck hit while I was camping down here. He walked around one side to get his glasses and come back, and by the time he sat down, something hit the hood of his truck. And those I left marks on the truck. So he had to actually walk right past that thing, but it was so dark he didn't see it to get his glasses.
Wow.
And those people had them sniffing to their campers and through the windows, and all kinds of stuff actually has been going on at this particular place where we camp. It's very active. A couple of weeks ago, when Chris Reinhardt and them made their little trip down through Alabama, they went over to the campsite on Wednesday. There was people camped there. Had one of those metal pop-up canopies and had a big black tarp. Made a shelter out of it. Everything was fine Wednesday when they went through. Then when Stacy Thatcher showed up on Friday to do her camp out, it had been destroyed, and the people were gone. They'd left food and all kinds of stuff behind. And Stacy found a track that was at least 20 inches long.
Wow. Very interesting. That's always weird when you find like abandoned stuff in that. So
yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time hanging out here and chilling with us. So is everybody else. Virax says, thank you, Wendell, for your encounters and experiences and for coming on. Grandizer says, thank you for coming on, your insights, taking questions and commentary. And Lee says, a very fun show. Very interesting.
Well, I've had fun, and I've not told you everything.
I know. There you go.
We've not talked about the ghosts. We've not talked about UFOs.
That's true. Oh,
I've
man.
had my name called, I don't know how many times, both my actual name and my nickname, from the time I was like 8 or 9 till now. I was by a taxi cab before I was 5 years old in Atlanta.
Wow. We will have to have you on the Paranormal Spectrum on Thursdays and share all your paranormal and weird stuff.
I'd like for you to see that picture of that strange thing I caught on my trail camera. I got no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Some folks say it looks like a face. Some say it looks like a hand. Some say it looks like they don't know. And I don't know either.
Interesting. Grandizer says, we need a part 2 of 10. Awesome, man. Well, I will have to reach out to you again and have you back on the paranormal show and see what we can dig up there. So
All right.
sounds good, man.
All right.
We're gonna wrap things up here today. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun on today's show. So aside from that first comment about me looking at you again, we're gonna have words about that. But
Well, folks, a lot of folks this far along in the line probably never heard it, so you're good.
there was a lot of agreeing comments in this section too. A lot of people going to get banned over there, I think. But once I take time to go through this, I guess, yeah. I'm just kidding, man. That's fun. I've never heard that before, so it's better than the "Did your mom name you after the TV show?" Oh God, yeah. So
Yeah, that was I was I had thought of that one, but I didn't. I thought mine was better.
there you go. I appreciate it, man. All right, man. You take care. It's been a blast. I will talk to you again soon and hopefully have you on my other show to talk some more spooky stuff, man.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for being in the chat.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. All of Wendell's friends and family that have joined us today, thank you so much for filling the chat and sharing the show today. If you guys are not already subscribed to Wendell's Bigfoot 911, Bigfoot 911, I'm sorry, Wendell Bigfoot 911 over on YouTube, go ahead over and check that out. The link is in the show notes. He's also got a Facebook group, Bigfoot 911 Wendell Bigfoot 911. I'll get it right. And the link is in the show notes. That's all that matters. And the prospecting one is there as well if you're interested in checking some of that stuff out. So make sure you go and subscribe, like, share all things Wendell and all things Untold Radio Network. If you want more shows like today's show, also my Thursday show, The Paranormal Spectrum. If you're joining us here, you may enjoy that one as well. We cover all things paranormal, UFO, metaphysical, you name it, everything that's not a creature